In here on News Talk 102.1 WALT, the two best hours of local live talk radio here in East Mississippi and West Alabama. Of course, if you want to be a part of the show, 601-485-9191. Of course, we're online at WALTmeridian.com. Also, Facebook Live, X, YouTube, and on that new WALT mobile app. Just search WALT 102.1 wherever you get your apps. So, yeah, lots of ways to stay plugged into the program. Good morning.
Good morning.
And good morning.
Oh, there we go.
So glad to be here, fellas.
Yeah.
So glad to be here, folks. I'll tell you right
As
now.
promised yesterday.
Oh, did y'all promise?
Yeah.
Oh, be careful doing that.
And we delivered. So,
There you go.
Don't know when I'll show up.
I'm not a crook.
well, I didn't say that, but,
Good to be back with you, fellas. It's time to make the little check again. I'm glad to
you
be
missed
here.
the pancakes, so,
Gas money.
That's right.
Shoot,
Yeah,
really?
how was the pancake
gas
jubilee?
prices?
Did y'all make
It was jubilacious.
Hate that I was away, couldn't be there. But
Yeah, we ate
yours.
we ate here in the studio yesterday, so we had pancakes here.
Pancake tacos.
It was actually funny. We had 2 deliveries yesterday.
We did. Yeah.
Wow.
Keep them coming. That's
Yeah.
right.
Charles Crane came by yesterday with a couple of plates for us, and then Paul Tarver showed up. So it was like, okay, they're going to find their way to the back table.
We're like, mercy, no
Mercy,
more.
no more.
You were pancaked. Well, that's great. Another good, successful pancake jubilee. Hopefully, PT will call in and give us a report of it.
I did go down to the Temple Theater Ballroom yesterday just to visit with a lot of our listeners down there yesterday. Got to meet Mississippi James yesterday and
All right. Yeah, very
just
good.
chat with him for a while. And yes, the Has was there. Joe was there. Saw Zane there as well yesterday. So it was a big crowd of folks. But yeah, it was pretty busy down there around the lunch rush
Yeah, but it
yesterday.
was.
So
you had 2 plates here and then
I
a
did
third
not-
one down there.
I did not eat anything when I went down there.
That's your story.
I have
Stick to it.
I have witnesses.
Okay. All right.
I did
Check
not
with them and see.
because Joe actually showed up with Zane, and Joe ate next to me, and I was just sitting there chatting with Haz, and I'm done after that plate I had yesterday morning. So, and yes, we have a photographic evidence of Joe and Haz.
I saw that. You sent me a picture where Haz and Joe were together there at the pancake jubilee.
Yeah,
Very nice. Here he comes. He's going to put it on the camera. There's the Haz and Joe. All right.
there they are.
Good morning. How are you?
Everybody's like,
Good morning.
so that's them.
Oh.
The faces behind the voices.
Yeah.
Always can be surprising one way or the other.
That's right. So, but said she's really enjoying her new job, and loving
That's
it,
good.
loving life. Still in that probationary
Don't
period.
stop
so.
calling in, Joe. We
That's
like
right.
hearing from you, and as well, of course, the hazmat.
And yes, the when she got near the table where I was sitting there with Mississippi James and Haz, somebody said, Joe! And then somebody across the room, Joe! Joe! She's like, oh, I love it. So
Man, a dash of celebrity.
that's right. That's
wow,
right.
there you go. Well, it's good to see you guys again. Of course, you have a good show lined up today. I think you're going to be having someone come on from prison ministry. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Mr. James Brooks from Kairos Prison Ministry, of course, doing a lot of great work. And prison ministry is very it's a big calling, and we're going to see exactly what they're doing here locally and visit with him. And then, guys, next hour we are getting very close to election time here in Mississippi, March the 12th. We're going to go to the polls. We got a big Republican primary, the U.S. Senate. Roger Wicker running for re-election, but he does have 2 challengers, and one of those is going to be here this morning. Dan Eubanks is going to be stopping by to see us. Of course, he is going to be in studio this morning to visit with us. In the house.
All right, he'll
So,
be in the studio. Good deal.
That's right.
Lots of good radio coming up here today. And good to be with you. I heard a little bit of the show driving to the airport on Monday, and you had a good visit with Mr. Hodge from the
I thought
city
so. Yeah.
Public Works. Very good, informative interview.
Well, I thought what really kind of came to the forefront on that is just just the very limited funds that that Public Works has to work with as far as paving goes, and they're always having to fight for either federal dollars or I know people don't like the words bond issue, Mr. Bond, but it was very eye opening as far as what they're doing with the dissent decree. Of course, we talked about piping underneath the city, and that's kind of getting a little bit older, and it's not just something you can just snap your fingers and fix. But yeah, it was very, very eye opening on what they're doing down there, and I think David's the right man for the job. So.
He is, and obviously it's very public. Everybody sees what they're doing as far as the roads go. They don't see it with the sewer and all
that's
the
other part
underground.
Of it.
And of course
that's
that
the other
doesn't,
part.
It
partly
doesn't
why
have a
our
whole lot of
sewers-
political capital with that. It's not. Hey, I paved the hey, I fixed everything around. But trust me, it's done.
What do they say? It's not the sexy part of running a city is all of that.
What is the sexy part of running?
I mean, I'm just saying. Everybody always focuses on the council meetings, this, and that. But but as far as keeping the basic necessities running, the utilities and everything, I mean that's a big. I mean, I think that's probably one of the most important parts of the city. So
now, speaking of city council,
what about law enforcement?
What about police department? Did you go to the work session or hear what they worked on?
No,
Because they were possibly working on a variety of things, but
it was just three things. I didn't get to go because it was the morning one yesterday, so I didn't get a chance to sneak
You were
away. 'cause
eating
I was still pancaked out from
you
yesterday.
were taking a
morning.
nap. I understand.
Yeah, so didn't get a chance to go visit them yesterday. They were probably glad about that. Rob's not here, thank God.
This city council work session during the Pancake Jubilee.
Yeah, I know. Smart move on their part.
Right across the street, they'll just eat pancakes. Should have done it at the Pancake Jubilee, to be honest.
I did feel extra safe yesterday because there was a lot of sheriff's deputies in the building yesterday, so I was like, I feel pretty safe down here.
That's good. That's a good sign.
Like 4 or 5 of them at one table. I was like, yeah, I pity the fool that comes in here and tries to start something. So,
although, right afterwards might be a good idea because they'd all be napping.
I know, right?
Sleeping in their car. No, I'm sure they weren't. So, anyway.
But appreciate them. They were there yesterday. But yeah, it was a great crowd. I was really impressed with it. So, and I did ask Paul if he could call in at some point this morning. He's like, depends on how early I get up this morning after a full day of it. So
After mixing batter.
yeah, so
There you go. It's Mornings in Meridian, and we another great program lined up today. So thanks for being with us. And this show is brought to you by our good friends down there at Barber & Son Plumbing. Charles, tell us the good reasons why we should always rely on Barber & Son Plumbing.
Well, pretty much if you want it flowing, then you go down and see him. And Gary, of course, has every kind of plumbing part available there at Barber & Sons, 1123 26th Avenue. Just give him a call, 601-482-7023. If you're a do-it-yourself, just take a picture of the part or bring the part down there, and Gary will have it in stock, or he'll get it for you, and he will show you step-by-step how to repair it. And so you can't beat that. I mean, it's better than a YouTube channel. Plus, you always get a good story. You meet some good folks down there. It's just a good old-fashioned business. They've been doing it for over 80 years. Barber & Sons Plumbing, 1123 26th Avenue. Give them a call, 601-482-7023. They'll also come to your home or business and do that plumbing repair for you.
All right, that's Barber & Son Plumbing.
yeah, we're getting some notices here on our YouTube that the sound is low. I don't have much control over the YouTube part of our broadcast this morning, so apologize for that for folks watching on YouTube. So
We're on YouTube?
yeah, on YouTube.
Just turn it
so
up. Maybe
I only control putting us on the air as far as all the bells and whistles behind the scenes.
we have bells and whistles?
I know. I have zero control over that. So, but there is the radio option, 102.1 FM.
Or you can always read lips, maybe.
The mobile app, there's also that option as well. Yeah.
That's right. You can
Twitter X Twitter.
Because I think radio got us to the party, I think, right? So
only for the last like 60-some years.
yeah, I know, right? I know.
A little longer than that.
I know you're a fan of all this.
Yeah, I'm old
old
school.
wireless.
I'm old school. I admit it. You know what? I used to laugh at how old-fashioned the older folks were when I was young. Now I'm beginning to realize, I kind of get it. Some change is good. We like it. I still like my phone. I like the fact that I have a computer on my belt.
You do it. It's like an accessory.
It is.
It's like a Batman kind of.
Yeah, it's like right there.
Wow.
You have your phone, you got your camera, you got your computer, all the Google, all this kind of mess. But just remember, phones are for the convenience of the owner, not necessarily the convenience of the caller.
Bingo.
Just remember that. Just because you can't get the person on the phone at the time Just don't get frustrated. That's leave a message. They'll call you back.
Maybe.
it's-
And they all have,
maybe not.
But keep in
Maybe
mind, they
not.
all have caller ID as well, so they know who's calling. So if they choose not to answer your phone call, then it could be a personal
There's
reason.
a company that keeps trying to call me, and I don't answer. It's have you heard of Spam? The company Spam. I don't know why they keep trying
Kind of
to call me.
tasty when you put it in the frying
Yeah,
pan.
Well, see,
if you
what-
fry it up, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't think for the life of me why somebody who produces, a
Fake
food
meat
product
or-
is trying to contact me. So I just don't know. I just don't answer the phone. Anyhow, our phone number though we will answer it. It's 601-485-9191. 601-485-9191. Give us a call. Evidently, my trip to Michigan didn't help Nikki Haley yesterday. No, I really didn't go to Michigan.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
But it's kind of fun to think about that because she took a little stomping in the primary in Michigan.
A little stomping.
Got that rear end whip.
But she's not giving up at least until after Super Tuesday. So
That's less than a week away then.
Yeah.
Donald Trump by roughly 40% gained a victory in the Republican primary in Michigan. So moving on to the next primaries coming up.
What about the percentage on the Democratic side? The what is it? No committed vote.
13%.
Yeah.
They're saying we're not.
I think it's the ones that voted for Biden that should be committed. But that's just my opinion.
What I want you to think about in that is that here, look at that. You have 13% that went to the polls on the Democrat side,
Yeah, that said no, them not committing. Yeah.
not to vote for Biden.
And I think a lot of that was it Rashida Tlaib basically said urging folks in Michigan to vote that way
She
because
did
of the
do that.
protesting, for the Palestinians and
We
you
want
know,
a ceasefire in Gaza.
so
We want countries to be able to attack Israel at any time they want to do that, and there should be no reprisal.
Well, I think that, everybody wants a ceasefire. Just release the hostages.
That would be good.
That's simple.
601-485-9191. Good morning, caller. Welcome to our show.
Good morning, gentlemen. How y'all doing?
Good morning.
Doing well, sir. Welcome to our show.
Well, we missed you. Well, no, we didn't miss you yesterday, Roger. We just noticed you wasn't there as usual.
That's fine. I understand. I
Another
get
absence.
it. I get it.
yeah, Zane, let's be official. Who was there? Well, I was there for an hour.
Everybody but Roger.
Everybody but
I
Roger.
wasn't there,
Wasn't there.
actually.
Daddy wasn't
Everybody else was there. I mean, Mississippi James. And you know what? I've been upset at Rob ever since, and I started out for different reasons. First off, I get there,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got Joe. Everybody else, Joe, when she walks in, and Rob has not saved enough room at his table for me and my party.
I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Okay.
I didn't know it was going to
So
be
I'm
that big of a
mad at Rob for
party.
that.
I didn't know it was going to be that big of a
Yeah.
party. You didn't.
And
You
so
didn't let me
then-
know these things.
Yeah, and so I've got Joe, and Rob steals Joe from me.
I
And
didn't.
so then I'm mad at Rob for stealing Joe.
Hey, she's
Can Joe be stolen? That's really a question.
she can't help it. She likes big beefy boys.
No.
That's getting
Okay.
weird.
Hey,
Okay.
hey,
I don't know what to say to that.
Well, it's growing. It's growing. And then now I'm really mad at you, Rob, because finally Joe felt guilty and got up and came over to my table.
I know.
And her and Ann had just really got introduced to each other when we picked Joe up.
Ah, okay.
And they have hit it off, and Ann is probably going to be going on Joe's girls' trips or something, which is really scary.
Oh man.
So then I'm mad for Rob for releasing Joe and sending her to the table because Ann and Joe are now conspiring, and they want to have a radio show or a podcast dealing with relationships.
Oh wow.
That's never been done before.
I don't think so. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right.
Breaking new ground.
Well, I spoke to a computer professional about doing denial of service attacks on the server that they're serving off of. He's, like, no, we can't do that. I talked to Odie about declaring a national emergency for that.
Mm-hmm.
But, that's a scary thing if Joe and Ann are going to do relationship advice.
Mm.
The only thing scarier would be you giving relationship.
That's
for them.
terrifying. Yeah.
My question is, where was Buddy? Where was Buddy at yesterday?
You and chew you out.
Where was Buddy at yesterday?
Somebody had to work at the shop. Graphics.
Oh, okay.
Did you bring him some pancakes?
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you bring him some pancakes?
Yeah, he did get. He got him a go plate.
Okay,
Okay,
good,
all
good,
right.
good.
Fair enough.
But yeah, just we drew straws, and Buddy is the one that drew the short straw on that one.
Did you see the
Wanted to be there.
Zane? Did you see the picture I put up of Joe and Haz a few minutes ago?
No, I didn't.
I'm fixing to put it back
I'm
up.
still on the way to work, so
Well, I think it's probably.
I have to check that out.
I think the Optimist Club was probably grateful that you didn't bring a large dog into a place where they're serving food.
Right.
So that's probably a good decision you made there.
Service dog.
But yeah, I had my
Emotional support
redneck
dog.
friends from Jasper County with me, and they were sitting over there, and we're talking everything, and love this couple to death. We hang out all the time. And Haz comes over and sits down, and I'm like, here we go. And my redneck couple, I thought was the wildest thing in the world, said we couldn't hold a candle to Haz.
Zane, when I got there, Haz and Mississippi James were in deep conversation when I got there.
That's kind of scary.
Yeah, and whenever Haz got up to make his rounds, I asked Mississippi James, I said, well, you've met the Haz. What do you think now? He's like, he's definitely the Tasmanian devil.
Tasmanian.
The Tasmanian devil, yeah.
He is at that.
We call him Haz, not
he come
Taz.
over to our table after
Haz.
I met him. Now, I like James. James is a cool guy.
He
Wasn't
is.
what I expected.
He is. I sat and talked with him for a while yesterday. Really, just enjoyed my conversation with him. So.
Yeah, he needs to get in the actual live hangout circle with us.
Well, he did say yesterday that he is going to be going back to Cincinnati in the next couple of weeks, I think. So, but he said I do have the app, that way I can listen when I'm up north. So,
Yeah, you can even call
he's
in
going
from up
back
north.
to stay?
what's that?
No, he
He's going back
summers.
to stay?
He summers up in. I think he summers up in Ohio, and then kind of does the winter time down here.
Yeah, because I want to say he was with
okay.
he was with his sister yesterday. So
Okay, so we got a real live snowbird in Meridian.
that's right.
Well, he's from Meridian originally.
Yeah, I
believe.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Zane, good to know that you're out there. You were part of the community yesterday at the Pancake Jubilee. You're doing good, man. You're doing good.
Yeah, just Roger put me on the prayer list because if Ann and Joe's gonna be buddies, I ain't scared of either one of them alone, but together,
It's a different
I'm
deal.
scared of that.
Well, I'm just looking forward to the interesting inside stories you can call in and tell us.
There you go.
The Ann and Joe report.
I don't know. It probably won't be FCC approved.
Well, we got the delay.
We definitely want
That's true.
We definitely don't want to get in trouble. Well, listen, appreciate you being out there, and my goodness, have a safe trip into town, and give us a call anytime you have an update.
Yep, you guys have a wonderful day. I'm
All
in
right.
Highland Park and hadn't been shot at.
Yeah. Okay, good. Say hey to Buddy.
Okay.
Have a wonderful day. Take
All
care.
right. Highland Park and hadn't been shot at.
Goodness Lord.
Oh, mercy me.
Live
Wow.
report.
Live
Right.
report. There you go.
Somewhat live.
So glad to have you all out there. You
Gotta have a
too
live,
can
really.
be part of the show if you want to call in and report, or just whine a little bit about what happened at the Pancake Jubilee.
Right.
Which there was no wine there, but if you want to wine,
I don't know. I wasn't there. Was there wine there? Maybe a little
I
bit
don't
in the
know.
corner.
One of the Optimist Club members, it says the adult drinks are at the very bottom of the cooler. And I'm not going to incriminate that Optimist Club member.
and that's for the Optimist Club after
Yeah,
the
I was about
Pancake
to
Jubilee.
say, right?
601-485-9191. Good morning, caller. How you doing?
I come in peace. I love everyone. There's
nothing you can do about it.
Mississippi James.
All right. Hey, I really enjoyed myself yesterday, and I got permission to call him Tasmania Devil.
You did.
Right, because he called himself the Antichrist. I said,
Wow.
you don't reach that level. You're like a Tasmania Devil.
James, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure visiting with you yesterday, by the way.
Okay, same here.
Absolutely.
get a chance to put a face to the name.
There you
that's
go.
always good.
There you go.
Yep. And if they say I had a conversation with the Tasmania, let me correct it. He talked and I listened. He talked and I listened.
Kind of like what he calls in the
Right,
show.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a monologue.
Right. And each time I try to get a question in sideways, he talked more. So like I told him, we can compare notes because, everybody's facts can't be facts.
Right.
But we can compare notes and go from there.
Interesting.
And that's what we got to do as humans. Just realize, like I was telling Rob yesterday, that number 6 and 9 that's on the ground, that halfway example, get a little long, so I have to shorten it up, and it don't have the same effect when you give it the full thing.
Mm-hmm.
But, hey, I say, coming back, Cincinnati, 600 miles from Meridian. If we was going to meet at a spot, that'd be Nashville, Tennessee. If it was a number on the ground, and that number coming down from the north, it looked like a 9 to me. You coming up from the south, it looked like a 6 to you. We both are right. We at the right spot. We looking at the number. Depends on what direction you came from.
Interesting
Now,
philosophy there.
What you say?
Interesting philosophy.
And we can sit there and we can argue, we can debate, we can have a war, we can fight, but we both are right. Until I come around on your side and say, hey, I see why you see that as a 6.
Mm-hmm.
You come on my side, you see, and we can begin to heal and move forward after we see the other person's side.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like hazmat.
I guess if it was an 8, there'd be nothing to fight about.
Or a 0.
Be nothing to fight about.
Or a 0,
and we have to get a numerologist and see what the number 8 means.
Mm. Now, am I correct, Mississippi James? You are you winter in Mississippi and you summer in Ohio?
Not exactly.
Okay,
I go back up and do 2 months there, 2 months here, 2 months there.
I
I come back for the 2, 4, 6. Then I do about 6 in the winter here.
I got you. Yeah.
But I'm maintaining a life up there still. Hey, and I hate to say I'm battling with the northern boys. But,
I don't judge. I don't judge anybody if they have 2 families and 2 wives and all that kind of. I mean, that's a personal business is your business. That's not a. I shouldn't even get into that.
Hey, I got one wife, and she was there yesterday with me.
I'm picking on you.
Hey, she's a stroke survivor.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I used to be a multitasker. I tell people.
Yeah.
My dad had a garage right where Planet Supply is right now, and that's where I grew up, a little boy working on cars.
Is that right?
So then, right where Planet Supply is, little garage. And about age 20, 21, that's when I went to Cincinnati. And then got into with the union job. I worked for Roadway for 10 years, a mechanic for Roadway.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually had to slow me down. Because they say, hey, what are you, a runaway slave or what? Because working in that garage, everything is done by time stamp. They give you a job, do the time stamp on and off. Well, one night they gave me to put some brakes and drums on a trailer.
Yeah.
So I take my toolbox, go put it on there. I come back, turn it in. I say, I'm finished. He say, well, do the other side. I said, what you mean do the other side? He said, don't a trailer have 2 sides, a left and a right? I said, yeah. He said, well, do the other side. I said, I've done the other side. So he looked at my paper. He said, you did both sides in 3 hours. We normally get 3 hours one side.
That's right.
So he told me, he said, I cannot turn this paperwork in. I have 104. We had 150 people there in the garage, all 3 shifts.
Yeah.
He said, I can't turn this in because they'll want to know if you can do it this fast. Why can't the other people do it this fast?
That's a union. That's a
So
union
he told
job.
me we're not going to bash the union now because once again.
Well, I know you're not, but I mean
that's
just what happens with the union. The production goes down and the cost goes up, and that's just really. I mean, that's.
So he told me, check this out. I'll finish
That's
this
a good.
up
That's
right
a good illustration for that. Yeah, good story.
Yeah. He told me, he said, in the meantime, now I'm working overnight shift. And he told me, he said, go in the locker room and take you a nap, and I'll wake you up when I can punch you off this card. I said, a white man telling me to sleep on the job? Well, he trying to fire me. And that's the way my mind was.
That's a good
White
story.
man telling me to go sleep on the job.
Go down, sleep on the job. Yep.
So
Hey.
I live such a beautiful life, and I get
Yeah.
a chance to walk between all the
Yeah.
negativity, just by living a balanced life.
There you go. We got to take a break, but a good report there. Good story. Thank you.
All right, brother. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All righty. Mornings in Meridian. We've got to take a break. When we come back, we'll be talking with Lee Witt and James Brooks about Kairos Prison Ministry. All right, we're back. It's Mornings in Meridian. Roger B. back in town for a day or two. Just happened to show up every now and then. And then Rob Atkinson's here in the house.
Good morning.
Good to see you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for allowing.
Hey, Charles.
Charles is back. You can see him back. Hey, he's
He's a back row Baptist right
All
now.
You're in timeout. Whenever you think you can behave, you can come back out. All right. It's Mornings in Meridian. That is, of course, the B. I always like the name of the group. Not necessarily all the music, but B-52s. Cindy Wilson. She's 67 years old today. Happy birthday. If the 28th day of February is your birthday. Also, birthday includes Kelly Bishop, the lovely, the talented. She was in Dirty Dancing and the Gilmore Girls. She's 80 years old today.
Wow.
Yeah. I like this actor as well, John Turturro. He's you see him in so many different movies. 67 years old today. And the late Charles Durning was born this day in 1923, and the late Gavin MacLeod, 1931. So happy birthday if today is your birthday. Hey, a big shout out to my secretary at our church, Amanda Shelton. And she is she's reached the age of...
She's the 29 and holding.
That's
club.
the one. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, be smart.
That's right.
Looking out for you.
All right, that's good. That's good. We're so glad you're out there tuned in. And, of course, we're glad to have a couple of guests here, Rob.
That's right. Gentlemen, introduce yourselves from Cairo Prison Ministry. I see Mr. Brooks over here.
James Brooks here from Prison Ministry. Also, Lee Witt. Go ahead, Mr. Brooks.
Good morning. Good morning.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, go to Gateway Church out at Lauderdale. I'm retired Navy, retired public education. Lee, next door to me, has introduced me to the Cairo's Prison Ministry.
Oh, Lee Witt. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Tell us a little about yourself.
I am the Reverend Lee Witt. I'm ordained non-denominational minister. I'm also retired Navy, retired aircraft contractor. I'm a deacon for Gateway Church, and I have a ministry at a small country church in Kemper called Union, and I have been with the prison ministry for 19 years.
Wow.
So this is something we've been carrying on. I've been working with South Mississippi Correctional Facility down in Leakesville for like over 15 years, and then after COVID and they opened Walnut Grove, I've been over there now for basically about a year and a half.
Okay. Very good. So we have you, and the common denominator here, a couple of things. First of all, Gateway Church, you'll recognize that as the Hunter's Lunch Church.
Amen to that.
I like that. Amen to that.
Linda,
Miss Linda.
Miss Linda comes in and talks about that every year. So in around November, but Gateway Church, great place up there in Lauderdale, Mississippi, and of course here a common denominator here, former Navy.
Yes.
So you guys, are you from here originally or just retired here?
So I'm from Virginia originally. Just went around the world a couple of times and ended up in Meridian, Mississippi, and couldn't see any need to leave.
There you go.
We'll take that anytime. Also, what about you, Pastor Witt?
I grew up in north central Missouri, joined the Navy when I was about 20, and landed here in 1979, bought a house, ended up marrying the girl next door, and had a couple of tours back and forth through here, and then contracted for a few years after I got out of the Navy, and then I was the contractor for Airbus for about 12 years.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Out of Columbus. So
Yeah.
Had a
Building
variety of
helicopters up there, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Helicopter guy.
Oh, very good. All right. So always admire those of you that fly machines that try to throw themselves apart the whole time they're flying. It's pretty cool.
Yes. So
That was a
you
joke, guys.
You remember the orange and white Hueys and stuff like that used to be with the Navy here?
Yeah.
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 It was quality assurance for those guys. And after they got rid of them, it was then American Eurocopter snapped me up, and away I went.
There you go. Well, good job then. Yeah, that's, believe you me, all the Navy pilots like the helicopter guys, because if they are in the drink, that's who gets them out. So
Exactly.
Amen.
that's
right.
important. We're glad you gentlemen are here, and thank you again for your service, by the way.
Yes.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. Always admire those who've served here. Just want to now talk about prison ministry, because you're still serving, except you're not in the Navy, but you're in another, maybe a higher level. Well, no, maybe about it, a higher level of service. So tell us about Kairos Prison Ministry.
Well, Cairo's Prison Ministry is an international organization that is in 18 different countries. I believe it is. Lee's the subject matter expert on this.
Kairos International is a non-denominational prison ministry. We're in 38 states and 8 foreign countries. We do maximum and medium security prisons. We don't do like the county jails and so forth. We are non-denominational. We accept all Trinity-believing Christians, and there are actually 3 different focuses. There are inside prison ministries, which is both for male and female, and then we have outside, which are for the wives, daughters, grandmothers, or whatever, of incarcerated men, and then we also have youth, which is Torch, and we have one group that is at Central Mississippi, and we're basically throughout the state in Mississippi. I think we have 9 different groups right now.
Wow.
9 groups. Very good. What kind of led you, Pastor Witt, to prison ministry?
I was asked. I was preaching and giving my testimony, and one of the people in the back said, "You need to come join our group after hearing my testimony." And so it was quite easy for me to go do that. Mm-hmm. And that was in like 2005. And so I've been involved with it ever since. And that was down in SMCI. And so that was the second time they had a Kairos there. And let me explain what Kairos is for a minute. Kairos is a Greek word meaning a special time or event. You might be familiar with Coronis, which is your watch or clock, and but Kairos is an event, something that happens. And when we go into the prison, we go in for a like 4-day tour, and we usually stay. Well, 3 of the days will be like 12 hours a day, and it is an event. We do not minister to the whole prison, but we minister to anywhere from 18 to 42 of the worst inmates they can dig up. And so we are there to get like the gang leaders and those people that are the habitual offenders and those people that are troublemakers. And we share Christ with them. It is a one-on-one individual. We support each other. And as the inmates file in, each one of us has picks up an inmate. We have small group sessions.
You speak to the inmates one-on-one, you say?
One-on-one.
Okay, so it's not like a group meeting, hey, bring all the guys in.
Well, it is in a way. We have kind of a round table discussion workshop type thing, but all of the residents have the opportunity to talk to a minister. There's a minister at each table.
I see.
It's very cooperative.
Okay, very good. And what led you into this ministry, Mr. Brooks?
Well, I had my arm twisted. It's hard to see over the radio, but Lee Witt is a big fella.
You were impressed. You were impressed into service.
I was impressed.
There you go. That's it. You were impressed into service. Well, very good. But you're here because I know you find it to be rewarding. We're going to talk about a special event you have coming up, but just a quick question. As you're visiting with as you said, the most, I guess, hardened,
yes,
of criminals, a couple of things. First of all, what reason do they give for their behavior? And then what kind of reception do you find when you present the message of Christ to them?
When they first come in, before they come in, they have to sign a agreement knowing that we are Christians, because we get people of all faiths, and we even have a lot of Muslims that come in, and we actually bring food with us. And one of their main things is they're coming for the food. We're spending the lunch with them, an evening meal. And so one of their motivations may be just the food, but we feed them more than the food. And I saw many men that have been there like for 20 years or more, never had a plate of fried chicken. And when you put that in front of them, that can break a lot of hearts.
And catfish too.
Catfish, pork chops. Yeah. We might as well say we bait them quite well.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're willing to listen, and that is one of the things that they will even tell you at the end. We came for the food, but we got fed much more. It was so much different.
Well, yeah, you're supplying a need, a physical need before you supply the spiritual need, which is kind of a model from the New Testament.
Yes.
Now, what I'd like to ask also, what reasons do they give for their behaviors? Why they're there? What's the common denominator there?
Well, one of the things is we don't ask them what they're in there for, how long they've been there for, or how long they got to go. That is their issue there. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they will tell us, but we are there as advocates for Christ, not for advocates for the inmates themselves. And so whether they tell us their stories or not, that is upon them. But they will get up and testify, and usually it will be something that is drug-related or money-related that usually gets them in there. That causes all kinds of other issues.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Mr. Brooks.
One thing that we discourage that because Lee, as a reverend, has client privilege. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't. As a lay person, if he tells me, well, I killed 13 people, I have to tell somebody about that. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a sad thing, but it's the truth.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Now, you have, of course, it's a great thing to reach out. Obviously, a command from the New Testament to visit the prison. So it's a neat ministry, but you have something coming up on March 13th, and tell us about that.
Well, March 13th is our first formation meeting. It'll be held at the Baptist Church there in Walnut Grove, and we have 4 more of these formation meetings. Usually last about 7 or 8 hours. Now, this is a very serious situation, and the people that volunteer to go in meet with other members for those 5 meetings, and we go over what we do as far as our workshop organization. Mm-hmm. And it gives them the familiarity with their brothers so that they're able to reflect on different presentations. The residents will display the round table discussions, have poster boards, that sort of thing, that they present their views on the presentation. And then one of the biggest parts of our ministry is music. We basically have 3 parts. We have musicians, we have the people at the table who are normally a table leader, assistant table leader, and the clergy, as well as the residents. So you have 6 and 3 there at each table. And we have, I think probably the biggest part is the food preparation. Mm-hmm. We have usually our ladies and some gentlemen also will be involved in the cooking and presentation of the food. Then the musicians will get up in between each talk and play songs. We have a rousing great time.
In case you want to know where, if you're not familiar with Walnut Grove, it's between Sebastopol and Carthage.
That's right.
That's where you're going to find it. And the meeting is going to be at the Baptist Church starting, it's on the 13th, beginning at...
It's going to be the 16th.
Oh, the 16th.
Saturday.
Okay.
Saturday.
Okay.
I keep getting that 13 mixed up.
Saturday the 16th.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all right. Well, we got that straight. So,
March 16th.
So you're kind of giving out a general invitation for those who might be interested in looking at your ministry.
Yes, we are.
We have to get a application from each volunteer prior to going in. At this time, they have to be approved by the State Department. We can't allow somebody who is a felon to go in and disrupt the situation. So everybody has to be approved by the state.
There you go.
Everybody gets a background check, and that is done by the state.
Yeah,
I think that makes sense.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Well, very good, gentlemen. Well, anything else you want to add about the ministry that you do?
It is open to all Christian believing brothers, Trinity believing, and it is a challenge. It is a sacrificial ministry. which means you are going to spend quite a bit of time with us. And so basically I tell people it's time to pick up your cross and carry it for a while, because you have to leave a lot of things behind. Like on our Saturday meetings, you won't be out there playing golf or fishing or doing those sporting events. You'll be serving Christ in a different way. So that is one of the things that you have to think about when you are going to get involved with the ministry, because it does take your personal time.
So your personal time, and just know that if you, and I'm guessing that if people do show up for this, they are really, really dedicated. Yes, exactly. Yes, Mr. Brooks.
Just to add that Matthew 25:36, if you want to read in that, Jesus said that you have clothed me, you have fed me, and you visited me in prison. I mean, it's right there in the red letters. If you want to know what Matthew says, just go to 25:36.
All right, there you have it. And of course, one quick question before you get away from here, and I've got a caller on the line here, so they might have a question for you. As far as measurable results of your ministry, do you have anything that kind of that indicates that your work is paying off, so to speak?
Yes, statistically, they keep track of all of the men and what happens. Normally, within 10 years, inmates get reincarcerated about 67%. And those that go through our program and stay with it, only about 10% of those will be reincarcerated again. And so not only that is it says that we're doing something good, but it also means some of your money out of your pocketbook doesn't have to go to pay for reincarcerated inmates. And so we know that that is going, and the state keeps track of that, as well as our national coordinators.
So those that when you say join your program and stick with it, how does an inmate stick with your program?
We have meetings called Prayer and Share, and they're in like your Wednesday night service.
Yeah.
But we do Tuesday night services at Walnut Grove, and we go in about 5:30 in the evening. And it is be like your normal Wednesday night prayer service. The guys get up, they control it. It is under their offices of their work, and bring their guitars and stuff and play and sing. And then it goes into small group sessions where they discuss the events and happenings within their lives. And then it's roundtable prayer. And they talk about the things that really affect them and pray about them, and they pray for each other.
Yeah.
And
So,
pray for
what you're saying is there's continued weekly
It's
programs
continuous service.
while they're incarcerated.
Yes.
Good deal.
And we have ministers within there.
Yeah.
Burrow Kane, the commissioner of prisons, has a seminary going in Parchman, and we have ministers that come out of that. And a couple of the guys that went through Kairos program have went through the seminary, and they are back in like Walnut Grove as ministers, and they form a church within the prison, and it's called Behind the Wall, and I think they had 90 people there on Sunday.
Wow. All right, we got a quick question. We're getting short on time, but go ahead, caller. You have a question for our guests, Mr. Witt, Reverend Witt, and Mr. Brooks.
Well, I thought I'd stay on there, but he just answered my question. That was mine, was what is the yield for people that are in the ministry going through this program that are coming back to join your ministry when they get out of prison? But you just answered that question. I do want to say, though, to Mr. Brooks there, he may not recognize my voice because I'm not stuttering as much as I did back in school, but his love and compassion goes back a long way.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He's an individual that changed my life.
Hey, wow.
And, not only through his kindness and wisdom, but probably only teachers that taught us compassion through showing us episodes of Andy Griffith while we were in school on how to be nice and how to take care of other people. And I appreciate him.
Hey, very good remarks. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Appreciate the phone call. There you are, Mr. Brooks. You there's a life you touched.
I taught at West Lauderdale, and I taught at Southeast before I retired from as a principal in Louisville Municipal School District.
Well, I've really missed out. None of my teachers showed Andy Griffith in school. Man, I could have been a better person.
Yeah, right.
I had to do that homework on my own.
That's right.
One more quick note. We are planning on getting into East Mississippi, and the chaplain there is very supportive of us.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to that.
Very good.
Very good.
Well, I just want to say good to have you gentlemen here. Anything else you want to add, Pastor Witt, about your, again, it's the open invitation for those who are committed, want to come and be part of a really strong ministry, and that's at Walnut Grove Baptist Church on the 16th of March.
Yes. I will actually give you my phone number, 601-934-0649. If I don't pick up right away, leave me a message and I will call you back. But it is one of those things that come join us and you will be more than think. Go through the program yourself.
All right.
Come out the other side.
All right.
Fantastic.
We always, if you're giving out your number, we always ask you to repeat it because somebody was probably reaching for a pen or trying to type that in their phone. So one more time.
601-934-0649.
601-490-4029.
That's yours.
601-490-4029.
That's how you reach these gentlemen, and may the Lord continue to bless as you bring the message of Christ to the people in prison.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
We do have to take a break. We'll come back. Charles, you ready to come back now?
Fine.
Okay. Fox News, and then we'll be back. best hours of local live talk radio here in East Mississippi, West Alabama. Rob Atkinson's in the house.
Hey, good morning, sir.
And so is Charles Frazier.
Well, I wasn't, but now I am. So
Out
back
of
again.
timeout.
I was in the back row. Yeah, okay, whatever.
You should have been in this interview.
I promised to behave.
You should have been in here. Good to have you all back here. And, of course, in just a moment, we're going to be visiting with a candidate for U.S. Senate for Mississippi, Mr. Dan Eubanks. So looking forward to that visit. But first of all, we'll remind you that if you just take a short trip up to Philadelphia, you can get yourself a new, or at least a very certified, previously owned Toyota.
Or, well, they have other brands, too, as far as the pre-owned vehicles go. But, yes, it's just a short drive up to Philadelphia, Mississippi to go to Doc's Toyota. But even better, you just go to your computer, iPad, your phone, and you can look at all the inventory they've got there, docstoyota.com. Of course, they've got all kinds of brand new 2024 Camrys, Tacomas, 4Runners, Tundras, Highlanders, Corollas, you name it, Toyota makes it. They've got plenty of them up there in Philadelphia. And, of course, as you mentioned, Roger, a huge, it's a very large selection of pre-owned inventory, all been through the rigorous multi-point Toyota inspection process, so you know you're getting a good quality car. And, of course, they strive for 5-star service in, both service and sales. Check them out. You can give them a call, 601-600-3786, or take that short trip up to Philadelphia, Mississippi. They're on Highway 16 West. But the easiest way, go to docstoyota.com. You can even buy a vehicle online. How cool is that? 21st century. That's what we're talking about. And, of course, you know, it seems every car dealer has a deal. And they all got great deals. But if you want the best deal, go to Doc's, because there is no deal
like a Doc's deal. All right. If you look on his website, you will see that he's been a pastor, a businessman. He is a husband and a father, brother and a son and a friend. He's a Mississippian, and the name is Dan Eubanks, and he is on the line right now. Good morning, Mr. Eubanks.
Good morning, guys. Good to be here.
Hey, good morning.
Thanks for checking in with us this morning. We did announce earlier on the show that you would be joining us in the studio, but you're having to call in, and we understand because, anytime you have a flat tire along the road, you got to stop and change it.
Well, and one of the hardest things ever is that you've got 60 days to campaign an entire state. They kind of do it, I think, on purpose. It protects the incumbent, but after qualification, it's like the race is on, and I am burning up the streets. I may need to go get a Doc's deal, get a new car by the time I get done with this.
Hey, there you go.
There you go. So, let's get acquainted here. You're challenging the incumbent Roger Wicker. So, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to find out what your platform is versus what we've had.
Okay, absolutely. Just a little bit about me. You kind of said it in the bio there, but I was a business owner here in Mississippi, and I guess it was about 19 years ago-ish, 20 years ago.
What kind of business, by the way?
It was a sound business. I did sound reinforcement and installs and studio work, and so I felt God kind of tugging at me. I appreciated your previous guest. It was great hearing how they got into the Kairos ministry and all, but I felt God calling me into ministry as well, and I've been serving in that capacity for about 20 years. And about 10 years ago, under the
you're currently in ministry, is that right?
Oh yeah, that's what keeps the lights on. You can't pay your bills on legislative pay.
Okay, where is your church, by the way?
It's in the Memphis area. I represent the northwesternmost district in the state house. So the Tennessee line is my northern boundary. The Mississippi River is my western boundary. And for your listeners, that's like the towns of Horn Lake, Walls, Eudora, a little bit of Hernando, a little bit of South Haven.
Okay.
And the church that I've worked for about the last 19 years is this area. And anyways, about 10 years ago, I was seeing the writing on the wall. I remember sitting in a staff meeting right after the Obergefell ruling, where they legalized same-sex marriage, and we have a big church. We let lots of people use the facility. And we were having a conversation in staff meeting about, well, we're going to have to change how we let folks use the facility, because if we tell this group yes and this group no, we might open ourselves up to a lawsuit. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. I thought we had a Bill of Rights and the First Amendment protected that. We shouldn't have to worry about that. And a seed got planted, and I felt God calling me into public service. And my wife and I, we prayed a lot about that. And took the plunge, and lo and behold, I beat the incumbent. And since I've been serving in the Mississippi House I'm going on my 9th year there. I've been humbled to have been a part of some really big stuff, been a co-author and author of things that have not just changed our state, but our nation. One of those was co-author of the Religious Freedom from Persecution bill, which basically protects your rights to adhere to the tenets of your faith. You don't have to check your faith at the door when you leave to go to work in the morning. And that was actually a big deal if you remember back around 2015, 16 when bakers and wedding photographers and everybody else was getting destroyed by the left. And then I was co-author of the bill that ultimately went to the U.S. Supreme Court and overturned Roe versus Wade. And the tax cuts and a whole bunch of other stuff. I don't want to bore everybody with that, but it's been pretty amazing to have been a part of that, and at least a cog in the wheel of getting good things done in our state and in our nation. And then about a year and a half ago, I know your listeners feel it. I know they see it. They see the direction our country is headed. They know there's something wrong. You don't have to look very far, especially to D.C., to know there's something seriously wrong with our country. And it seems like most of our political elites are putting everybody else first and America last. And our current senator certainly fit that bill. He didn't represent me anymore, and he didn't represent most of the Republicans I know. And my wife and I, we kind of entered into a time of prayer on that, kept fleecing God, and it kept coming back. No, this is what you're supposed to do. And I'm like, well, Lord, how do you expect me to be successful up against a 30-year member of the swamp and a guy that's got more special interest money than just about anybody? And his word to me was, you know what, Daniel, I don't call you to be successful. I call you to be faithful. You let me worry about outcomes. And so this is as much a leap of faith for me as it is a stand to fight for the country that I love and that I see in peril. And so I've been in the race, campaigning my wheels off my car, like we were talking a minute ago, which is why I'm not in the studio right now, and I apologize. I was really looking forward to being there with you guys.
Well, now I'll just tell everybody, you didn't really have a flat tire. You're just a busy man, and I get that. But yeah, you're always welcome to be here. We open up our studio or phone lines to any candidate, and so we appreciate you taking the time to respond. I guess the thing that I want to, you mentioned, you used the big S word, swamp.
Yeah, I was like, what?
I was like, whoa, what else word we're talking about here? Keep it clean.
So,
you feel like that you mentioned our current senator that you're opposing is part of that swamp. So, in what ways have you seen that happen in the past?
Oh, absolutely.
What indicators do you have on that?
Well, okay, yeah, and I think most of your listeners that are plugged in and pay attention, a lot of folks, they're checked out or they're cynical, and they don't really know what's going on in D.C. A lot of people don't know what's going on in Jackson.
Yeah.
And just to kind of add some clarity, I was seeing stuff like, when he sided with the Democrats and Joe Biden and Pelosi and all those guys and voted for that $1.7 trillion budget deal that had hundreds of billions of dollars in it for Green New Deal stuff, hundreds of millions of dollars for all this gender and diversity and equity initiatives. And I was like, whoa, what's going on here? What's really crazy is that our other senator, Cindy Hyde-Smith, is on the opposite end of the vote on most of the votes that count. And whether it was him blue carding the Scott Cullum as our Northern District federal judge, who was a Biden-picked, Soros-backed judge, and that basically means is when it comes to appointments like that, if both senators blue card them, they just kind of have an easy pass through. Thankfully, Cindy Hyde-Smith put the kibosh on that. Or this $95 billion more dollars to fund, other foreign. This was the most recent thing, funding. Protecting everybody else's border but our own. Another $60 billion for the Ukraine. We're going to be into the Ukraine for $250 billion by the end of next year, and yet we have the greatest national security threat that we've ever faced as a nation on our southern border. We've got 100,000 people a year dying from Chinese fentanyl coming across that border, and it's not just Latinos that are coming across looking for a better life. We've got tens of thousands of bad actors from parts of this globe that are now in our country, embedded in our country, and all this focus seems to be on everybody else. And meanwhile, we leave our back door wide open. A nation's only as sovereign as its border. So what does that say about our nation? And I just, it gets to the point to where it's like, we got to do something. We got to have some folks that are going to put Americans and America first. And it seems like so much of our ruling political elites are more concerned about their special interest donors and every other thing that's going on around the world, whether it be the globalist agenda, than taking care of our own people and our own country. And so yeah, I mean, I could go on all day if you want me to sit there and tell you all
as much as we may agree, as much as we agree with you on these topics, you get into a Senate where you are a minority member, in the fact that you don't have over 50% of the party vote in the Senate. So how do you accomplish these things when you're in a Senate that is controlled by, what's our man in New York? Mr. Schumer.
Mr. Schumer, yeah.
Right.
Chucky.
Yeah.
He did it. He said Chucky. He said Chucky. Got my vote.
That's a good question. That's a really good question. And I think a lot of people think that it's all about are you going to go get this bill passed? Or are you going to go do whatever? Part of it's building coalitions, but the first responsibility of any elected representation, whether it's at the state level, whether it's at the municipal level, the county level, the state level, or the federal level, is to take care of your constituents. Serving in the Mississippi House, I take care of not just my constituents. I have people call me from all over the state. They're like, my guy won't call me back. And I'm like, well, what can I do for you?
Wow.
You are the intermediary between them and any issues they have with any state agency. Well, the same is true with your congressional and your Senate representation. They've got to take care of their people. A lot of the stuff, whether you're having trouble with Social Security or the VA, or you need a passport expedited or whatever that is, that's your primary responsibility. The secondary one is to drive policy and law. And, part of that is, yes, you're just one of 100 in the Senate or one of 435 in the Congress, and you've got to build coalitions, but you've also got to do what's right. You got to have a backbone and be willing to take hard calls, and I've been doing that for the last 8-9 years in the Mississippi House. I have the highest lifetime average conservative rating of anyone serving in state government here in Mississippi. I'm the only verified conservative in the race, as based by the American Family Association and iVoter.com. I've been in the trenches. I've been fighting. I know what it's like to be the lone guy on the hill charging the line. And when you get a position like that in D.C., what comes with it is a bully pulpit. The Fox News and the CNN and the Tucker Carlsons and everybody else, suddenly they have a reason to hear what you have to say. And so you can drive a narrative, and if you're not bold and you're not calling out evil when you see it, and when you're not calling out wrongdoing when you see it, and you're just going along to get along and being a part of the swamp and just mostly concerned with re-election, then you really don't have much of an impact. And so that's the other thing. So in addition to taking care of your people, you've got to be willing to call things out. And then of course, there's driving policy and your vote record. I mean, I know a lot of people say, well, we got to have somebody there 30, 40, 50 years to get anything done. But here's I'll let everybody in, all your listeners in on a little secret. Most politicians take credit for stuff that they really don't have much credit to take for it. Guess what? When the U.S. military needs to buy destroyers, Mississippi's going to build them. It doesn't matter who's in that position. We've got a good team on the coast. We've got hardworking Mississippians, and so some of that is just a narrative to keep the old guy in there forever. That there is no term limits. It seems like these days, especially in Mississippi, we have not organically elected a senator in over 40 years. What happens is we keep somebody in there forever, and then they step down, and then we put, I say we, it's really the governor, and puts who they want in there. And so once you're in there, you have a 90% chance of reelection. You're the incumbent. The money starts flowing, and then when when somebody decides to come along and challenge, there's no way you can match them with name ID. There's no way you can match them with the finances. And so Mississippi doesn't ever really get to elect a senator that is their choice. It's just, it is the system. It's how it is. But I think this time it's going to be different. I've been traveling the state, talking to countless folks, and I think people are ready for a change. I think they really are starting to wake up to what's being represented in D.C. on their behalf.
Mr. Eubanks, we have our Pastor Eubanks. We have a listener who'd like to know, how do they get material like a sign to put in their yard and for here in Lauderdale County?
Yes, they can call me or text me. I put my cell number out there. I'm in the car a lot these days, and they'd probably keep me awake if they give me a call. But I'll go ahead and give you my number now. It's 662-374-0035. That's 662-374-0035. You can text me at that number. If you call me right now, I'm not going to answer it because I'm talking to you guys.
There you go. Of course you are. Yeah.
Or you can shoot me an email at dan@daneubanks.com. We'll see if we can't get something to you. It's a big state, man. I didn't realize how big until you start driving it every day. We will hopefully have somebody in that area soon. And because I know there's a couple other folks there in Meridian and all that have reached out to me recently saying, hey, we want to sign.
Mr. Eubanks, Rob here. Just had a quick question. Is there going to be any kind of maybe a debate or any kind of forum between, I know there's another candidate in the race along with you and Mr. Wicker. Has there been any kind of, you guys going to debate at all? I mean, has that even been presented at all? Because I think that would be good to have all these candidates together.
I've been pushing for that, and I'll tell you, I've been shot down by Wicker's people. I talked to his lead campaign guy, and he said, well, it's real convenient that you guys have all these events while he's doing the people's work in D.C. And I said, well,
I like the way he says that.
Yeah. No, I'm serious. If I'm lying, I'm dying. And I said, well, I understand that. It is really hard. I'm having a hard time being everywhere I got to go. My wife has to go and speak for me sometimes, my dad, my brother. I said, I get that, I'm still having to work a job. I'm still fulfilling my legislative responsibilities. And basically, I'm just not sleeping. And I said, I tell you what, you have the senator pick the day and the time. I know he's home every weekend. I see him going to the Dixie Nationals and having dinner at the whatever. It's like, you pick the time and the place. And I know I can speak on behalf of the other candidate because he and I see each other at every event, basically. And he just goes, hump, and that was all he had to say. I will tell you, the closest we've gotten to a debate was last night, which is why I'm not in the studio today. We had a big forum. It was me and the other gentleman that's running and Roger's wife. And I thought, well, and it wasn't a very friendly crowd to Roger. And I felt bad for her. I mean, God bless her. She's a good wife to show up. I know my wife has had to do that for me. But it's like people were like, where is Roger? Why won't he come and answer our questions? He's done one political thing other than just to show around and pop up in a restaurant, take a picture, and do a photo op. Was in Tupelo, and that was, I think, last Tuesday. That's his own backyard, And so he hired a bunch of Ole Miss college Republicans to put his shirt on and show up, and then he walks in, talks for 10 minutes, and leaves. And everybody was just outraged that he didn't take any questions or – I don't think he can defend his record, and so he's staying sparse.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up because I think the one thing that infuriated a lot of our listeners here on the program most recently was his vote on the funding bill, the way he voted to send more money to Ukraine. And I think that really there's been a lot of votes in the past that have been a tipping point for a lot of Mississippians, especially here locally. But that one right there more rage because the border is supposed to have been at the forefront. It was kind of put on the back burner once again by the Senate.
Yeah, not one red cent. And I know your listeners and you guys too have probably seen he's bought up about $2.5 million worth of airspace, and he's got the commercial out there, tough on the border, got the Finish the Wall Act, all of that. And it's like most people remember he was one of the few Republicans that joined with the Democrats and fought President Trump when he tried to secure the border, and it's great to have a Finish the Wall Act, but the wall still ain't finished, and there was no funding in that, and it's about $9 million in illegals too late. And so there's a narrative he's trying to push, and he's got the money to do it. There's no way you could take what I've raised and what the other gentleman in the race has raised, add it together, and multiply it times 100, and we could not battle the level of special interest money. He is one of the largest recipients of military-industrial complex money of just about anybody in the in D.C. He gets about $500,000 a year from them, and I think that should be criminal anyways. If I get to D.C., I'm going to say that I'm going to fight that no sitting member of the House or Senate should get one dime from anybody that has anything to do with the military-industrial complex, because you're corrupted. You've been co-opted, and it's our sons and daughters that ultimately pay the price when you fund all these wars. We're going to, you probably saw his video where it's like, I wouldn't rule out boots on the ground. I wouldn't rule out American citizens over there fighting in Ukraine. There's a problem when you represent the interests of the people. Their bottom line goes up. They didn't like it when Trump was in office because we didn't get any new conflicts. And boy, they're making money now. And if you look at the recent $95 billion, there was some handcuffs put into that language that basically, if President Trump is the president next go here, it bans his ability to use this money as a bargaining tool or to get people to the table or to freeze it. It's an impeachable offense.
Now,
and
you mentioned, you go ahead.
Go ahead.
A quick question. Again, I'm playing devil's advocate here because you mentioned the military, the industrial military complex, shipbuilding, aircraft manufacturing, a lot of things in Mississippi where people are relying on jobs and good jobs that we have here, which is the part of the industrial military complex. I'm just trying to say, we don't want to see these things go away from Mississippi.
No, not at all. In fact, we put our own servicemen and women at a disadvantage when we're fulfilling when we're leaving billions of dollars worth of equipment in Afghanistan. When we are, I had a buddy who was part of the Guard, and they were going up to do artillery drills. I don't remember where he said he was headed. It was like Kentucky or someplace like that. And they get there, and they go to the warehouse, and there's no munitions. And he's like, well, how are we going to do? Where's all the munitions? They're like, Ukraine. What does it do to the preparedness of our own military when we are sending all of this equipment and we're fueling all these other border conflicts, and when we get drawn into that or we're not at a preparedness state, it puts our own military servicemen and women in harm's way, in my opinion, long term. We need to be well equipped. We need to have the best military on the planet. We do, but we don't need to stretch ourselves so thin and put ourselves in a position. So those jobs are still going to be there because we're still going to have to build planes and build boats, and there's a lifespan on every piece of equipment, every munition that we build, and so that's going to continue. And I'm certainly not advocating on behalf of like doing away with that. I'm just saying that there's conflict of interest.
I know. I was just inferring the fact that sometimes sometimes there's got to be some grease on the wheel that kind of keeps things rolling in these areas. And I'm just saying, in political reality, you will have to have a close relationship with some of these representatives from these industries.
Well, no, I'm not saying that's not a problem, because if you really care about America and you really care about our preparedness and our military, you're gonna be engaged with them. It's just like Big Pharma, they lobby more than any other industry in the country, both at the federal and state and local level. And it's like, your product is so good, right? It's so life-saving, so wonderful. Why is it that you feel the need to spend $250 million a year lobbying Congress and the Senate to give you all this immunity? If your product is good, it's good. It should sell itself. I think that, but what they do is they get Congress to take and release them from liability. They get Congress to take and give them favorable status. During COVID, the big pharma made over $1 trillion. Okay, now granted, it was sort of extraordinary circumstance, but the point is that I'm trying to make is that when you have special interest driving policy, when you have special interest driving, what you're doing on a global political level, I feel like you're compromised. If it's the right thing to do, it's the right thing to do. If we need to go defend another nation or support them in a conflict, it's the right thing to do, whether I get money from you or not. If giving people immunity from prosecution because you create a product that kills people like Big Pharma does in a lot of cases, then if it's a good thing to do, we're going to do it whether you grease the wheel and slip me money or not. And that is part of the reason why the incumbency stays in power. That's how they get funded. That's how they stay in power. That's how they can buy $3 million worth of ad space. That's kind of what I'm getting at.
I understand.
Yeah.
All right. Charles Frazier, he's sitting here just very patiently, and he probably hasn't had a chance to give you a question. So Charles is here in the house with us.
I just was. I think my only question would be, I know Wicker did vote for the Ukraine bill, if we'll call it that, with the lack of funding for the border. What are your thoughts on Ukraine just by itself? I know that there were a lot of other things tied with that bill. Do you think we should be funding them? Do you think that, do you feel that Putin is a threat, that we should stop him at Ukraine, or kind of what's your approach to that situation?
Well, I am not saying that Putin's a good guy. I mean, I think he's awful too. But I do think what your listeners and all of us need to sit and take a look at is the Ukraine. Let's look at the Ukraine before all of this started. Some of this is a mess of our own making. When we started courting them to try to get them to come into NATO, if Canada were to make a deal with China, did some kind of Pacific-China agreement that would allow them to put nukes in Canada or house, their military in Canada, we'd go to war over that. We'd be like, oh, heck no, right? And so in the preservation of your own state, Israel has every right to defend itself when they're attacked. We have every right to defend ourselves when attacked or when we perceive attack. And for Russia, they were going to have an indefensible border now if Ukraine became a NATO nation. Now, here's the other thing that a lot of people forget. I mean, Ukraine was where the East meets the West. I mean, it was a corrupt regime, and there was a whole lot of money laundering and everything else going on in that country. And now we hear all the time about, hey, this is about defending democracy. When you imprison people that speak out against a conflict, or you threaten to take and suspend elections, or you take priests, Russian Orthodox priests, and put them in jail because of their association with Russia, that doesn't sound very democratic to me. That is not the kind of regime I would want to prop up. I understand the sort of the political conflict, but there is a narrative that's going on, and we seem to be just pumping money like it's no tomorrow. We're basically borrowing from China to give to the Ukraine. It's if you look at where we are as a debt level, there are things I think that we can do without giving away the farm. There's no accountability too. This money goes over, and it's like we keep talking about we need to have audits and we need to have accountability, but it's just a blank check. And a lot of that money, remember back early on, like $10 billion of it went into FTX, and nobody knows where the money went from there. And all of a sudden, poof, FTX is gone, and they have no records of anything. It's how convenient, So it is, in my opinion, it's got to be reevaluated, because there's something seriously unbalanced in this whole push. And I'm for defending democracy wherever, but at some point it should come with some stipulations. And I think President Trump's right. Some of these people, it shouldn't be a blank check. It should be an IOU. If we're going to give you money, we expect you at some point to pay it back, or at least a portion of it back.
Mr. Eubanks, there's a way we do business up here in Washington that sound like you want to play ball with us.
Hey, if you keep electing the same thing and playing the game the same way, you're going to get the same result. It's the definition of insanity.
Do you see what we did? You see what we did with that other fellow that wouldn't want to be part of the swamp?
Yeah, well, it's true. Hey, if for any reason I commit suicide by 2 shots in the back of the head, just know I'm not depressed.
Oh,
you met the Clintons. Yeah, I got
Oh,
you.
man. Oh, mercy. We have a little fun with this, but yeah, I can see where, a person, again, you brought up some very, very good points, but I can see where a person with those ideals, you're gonna be swimming upstream there in Washington trying to fight this. But we are certainly glad that you've taken time. Anything else you want to add about your candidacy here before we let you go this morning? If you just joined us, folks, we've had a great interview with Mr. Dan Eubanks, who's running for U.S. Senate for the state of Mississippi.
Yeah, well, first off, I love the folks in Meridian. I've been there a couple times now and just met some amazing people. And I know your listening audience is more than just Meridian, but I'm not complaining. I drive 2,000 miles a week for the rest of my life if I thought it was going to save our great republic. I've met so many good people around the state, and it reminds me every single time why I'm doing what I'm doing. Just saying, well, that's not how the game is played, or how do you expect to be successful, so why even try? If I had that mindset, I wouldn't even be in this race because, if we only did the things that we thought we could be successful, I think it's time for, patriots and people of courage and a backbone to stand up to get out and represent. I would welcome anybody to reach out to me. You can catch me at daneubanks.com, DANEUBANKS.com. You can follow me on my socials. You can donate there, and as you know, it takes money to run a campaign, so I'd love that if you can spare a few coins. And together, I think we're going to be successful. And together, I think we're going to take and start putting America first, and take our country back. And so I just would welcome anybody and get out and vote. I mean, we've only got less than 2 weeks. These next 2 Saturdays, if you don't think you're going to be available on Tuesdays, you're going to be out of town, you can go to your clerk's office and vote this coming Saturday and the following Saturday from 8 a.m. to noon. Or you can vote absentee during the week right now. And if you're over 65, you don't even have to vote absentee. You can show up at your clerk's office and vote. And vote Dan Eubanks. Remember, you can bank on Eubanks, and I would love to have your vote and your support.
All right. Well, very good. Well, thank you for taking time, and again, we invite you to come back and give us a report along the trail there.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right. There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very, very, very impressed.
Ain't no rhino.
No, sir.
Don't think so. It made that pretty clear, didn't he? Mm-hmm. Well, and again,
and by the way, folks, just to be official, I have put out invitations to everybody, and he's just the first bite we've gotten, and maybe we'll hear back from Mr. Wicker's camp and, of course, Mr. Burton as well. But just the correspondence I had back and forth with Mr. Eubanks over the last few days, I mean, he's working hard campaigning out there around the state, and this is a big race coming up on March 12th. People need to get their head out of the sand, pay attention of what's going on right now.
If you campaign with millions of dollars, then you have to campaign with millions of miles.
That's right. That's what he's doing. That's what he's doing.
Boom and boom, boom. Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about one of our sponsors. We're so glad to have Martin Roofing help support this program, and Doug Martin Jr. and Doug Martin Sr. and Stacy.
Yeah,
they do a good job of keeping those new roofs on people's homes and keeping them dry in these wet times.
That's right. And, they're not running for office. They're just running to fix your roof. But you see the signs everywhere. And the reason is because everybody uses Martin Roofing. They've been doing roofing right for over 30 years. Locally owned and operated, licensed in the state of Mississippi. And they take pride in standing behind their work from start through cleanup. And I mean cleanup. They do a great job of fixing everything up so it's like they were never there, except for you got a brand new roof. Just give them a call today for your free estimate, and they'll come by and inspect your roof for damage as well. 601-485-5920. That number's easy to remember, just like the interstates that run through town. Call Doug Martin Jr. or Doug Martin Sr., and they'll be happy to help you with all your roofing needs. And, of course, they're a member of the Better Business Bureau because they are a better business.
Oh, is that why?
It's why.
I believe.
Triple B.
I agree with that. All right. Well, good interview with Mr. Dan Eubanks. We're going to come back after this break. We went a little long with that. It was worth it.
Yes.
And we shall return. So let's pay a couple of bills. We'll be back. I'm Roger. He's Rob. He's Charles.
I am.
And you're you. All right. That's little Jason Aldean. He's 47 years old today, so I thought I'd play one of his songs for his birthday. How about that?
Should have played the one that he got in trouble for here, last year or so.
Oh,
Did he get in trouble?
Oh, yeah.
I miss all the good headlines.
Yeah, politically correct. Politically correct, please. Yeah, we're
correct.
The
Whatever.
video in front of the courthouse or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And guess
that one.
what?
Right.
It went number one.
It went number one. That's right. Jason Aldean, 47 years old today. Other birthdays include B-52 Cindy Wilson is 67. The actress Kelly Bishop is 80. Bernadette Peters, she's 76. You remember she was in The Jerk with Steve Martin, but also Gypsy and so many other roles she played. Other birthdays, let's see, we got, and of course, born on this day, the late Charles Durning. You probably remember him as the guy that was trying to chase Robert Redford in The Sting. Then, of course, the late Gavin MacLeod. You saw him on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, and then later on Love Boat. He was the captain.
Captain Stubing.
Captain Stubing. Gavin MacLeod. So anyway, happy birthday. If this is your birthday, happy birthday to Amanda Shelton, secretary at our church, and appreciate the work she does.
Did get a notice here from Paul Tarver. They fed around 2,400 folks yesterday.
2,400 folks.
2,400.
Wow. So three pancakes per, that's what, 7,200 pancakes. A little bit of wastage, a little bit of maybe consumption by the staff eating.
That's a lot of butter and syrup.
8,000 pancakes. That's a lot.
How many calories did we put out last night?
Ooh,
Yay, every cardiologist's favorite event.
Right. It keeps them in business. They're loving it. Yeah.
All right.
You could do it twice a year.
Got a caller on the line. Let's see if we can get this phone call in here this morning. Good morning, caller. Welcome to our show.
Mega morning, true American patriots.
Hiya.
Woken up from the pancake nap.
Action report about the pancake jubilee.
Yeah, your picture was plastered on our Facebook here. Yeah.
Really? I don't know.
Yeah.
But the pancakes were absolutely delicious. And those guys did a great job.
Yeah.
And you know, I saw some people I know, and I see probably once a year, George Raniger. I saw George. I went to school with George. And Mr. Benny and his entourage come in, and then Joe showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Joe of Chunky, the goddess of truth, justice, and the American way. And we were conspiring against the demon cats. And I saw Zane and Mississippi James. I talked to him at length, and I told him, I said, the solution is there. Quit believing what the demon cats tell you. Break away from that plantation.
Ooh.
You're not free.
Ooh. Wow.
Yeah, you're not free if you're tethered to someone that provides your shelter, your clothes, your food, and your health care. You're not free. But they played it. Lyndon Baines Johnson was smarter than he looked. He played it to win. He played it to win Democrat votes. It's not about whether they care about minorities or anything else. It's about power and control and votes. And once they have got them entrenched and they're going back over and over, generational welfare, they locked in. There's no way to get out. The only way to get out is just like I told him, you're going to have to reestablish the family unit. They replaced the male figure model in the traditional family with a government check. That's the reason that they're getting into gangs. They're looking for a role model. They don't have any positive role models or positive mentors. So this is their alternative. But it's got to change at a core level. But
well,
yeah, it was a nice event.
Now I saw you with your arm around
Yes,
Joe from Chunky.
That's the picture I have has of you with your arm wrapped around Joe.
Yeah, and I told them when they took that, the devil just peed himself.
There it is.
But Yeah, it was pretty interesting with a little bunch of people down there, and there's always somebody you know or talk to or whatever. And this woman and her husband sat by me, and I'd never seen them before, but evidently they had heard me, and they were interested. And I sat there and gave them the gospel there for a while.
It was funny yesterday when Joe got there, we heard a Joe holler from one end of the ballroom to the other. I said, that's catching on. I said, that's catching on, because I went, Joe! And so I said, Joe!
That's what I told her. I said, when you call in the radio station, they all go, Joe! Joe!
As I was going to ask you before we let you go, what'd you think of Mr. Eubanks a few minutes ago?
Well, we've got to do something. What we're doing, Einstein, I think, is credited with this. Doing the same thing over and over in repetition and expecting different results is a definition of insanity.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever we're doing at all levels is not providing the desired result. Let's try something new.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try something new. And all I want is the man to speak his heart and mind and to assure me he is going to vote the will of his constituents, not with his party, not with what's popular up there, or what's in the cocktail circuit, what the people want. We put him up there to vote our proxy. And we need people in Congress that put America first. We don't owe anybody nothing. We don't know these illegal aliens nothing, the Ukraine, anybody. We need to take care of this piece of dirt first and the real card-carrying, bona fide American citizens and veterans.
All right.
Now, when you, like you said, when you borrowed money from your arch enemy, China, to give to everybody in the world, how retarded is that?
Well put, sir. All right.
How retarded is that?
All right.
You going to take food out of your children's mouth to give to somebody else? Is that stupid?
Yeah, there you go.
According to Hass, it is.
There you go.
Roger that.
All right. It's Mornings in Meridian. Glad you're out there. And, of course, we want to say a big thank you to Adam and Adam out there on 22nd Avenue, Sela Ward Parkway. They have
Sela Ward Calhoun Parkway.
Oh, that's Y'all, they ain't married.
They just crazy. Them two just crazy.
That's right.
A&A Glass, that's right. Adam and Adam have been doing it right for over 10 years. They've been the number one glass replacement company here in town for 10 years running. They must be doing something right. They are at 217 22nd Avenue, Sela Ward.
Calhoun
Parkway. Just give them a call, 601-693-GLASS. They're open 8 to 4 Monday through Friday. They'll work with your insurance company. Of course, they'll beat any price in town. They're fast, friendly, efficient, and they got great T-shirts. You know, they're just great folks down there at A&A Glass, 217 22nd Avenue, 601-693-GLASS. Give them a call today.
Absolutely. All right. Well, tomorrow we're going to be visiting with NAS Meridian.
That's right.
They will be with us.
Air Traffic Controller of the Year is going to be on the show tomorrow.
Oh, air traffic control. Oh, I got a couple of questions.
I know. That's one of your favorites.
Yeah, we're going to be asking some questions about what they do here. Yeah, that'd be good. So that's coming up tomorrow on the show.
And I did get confirmation that Dr. Toby Bates will be in on Friday as well.
Dr. Toby.
So if you're a big Toby Bates fan, he'll be
and
here.
Who isn't?
He's going to be here Friday.
All right. Lots of good radio coming up this week here, so that's very good. Just looking at some quick stories around the country there, of course, we know that Trump did a good job there in Michigan.
Yeah.
40% victory. Nikki's still going.
And, of course, Super Tuesday coming up in just a few days. Actually, what next Tuesday, March the 5th. So, and she has said, I mean, that's the day right there. And, of course, I think the way the math goes, if he keeps winning these delegates, he will mathematically get the amount of delegates he needs by March the 12th after we're done here in Mississippi, because that's when our day is. I thought we were on the 5th originally on Super Tuesday. We're actually on the 12th. But yeah, he should be able to get the 1,250 delegates he needs mathematically to secure the nomination.
You think Nikki will drop out then, or just keep going for it?
She keeps going after that. I'm like, good Lord, man, what are you doing?
I think she's running for 28. That's what she's doing. All right. Well, hey, here's something interesting. I wonder why they didn't try this sooner. But Wendy's restaurant CEO Kirk Tanner, he said beginning in 2025, they may have something called dynamic pricing.
Oh.
In other words, I guess higher prices demand time. A pricing during the quiet times of fast food restaurant.
All right.
Yeah.
Between 5 and 7, it'll go up.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I want my square hamburger.
Yeah. Going at 4:45. Yeah, except in Florida where it's like 3 to 5. For the old people.
Yeah, that's interesting. Having day part offerings for pricing on food at the fast food restaurant.
As long as the Frosty machine's working.
That's right.
Well, that's a good way to make everybody mad. So we thought of another way.
I just don't want anybody holding up the drive-through line waiting for like 3 o'clock. You know,
right? I'm gonna save 10 cents.
All right, we'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great day. Say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.